Do you feel misunderstood in the industry? Do you feel like some of these rules coming down the pipe are just like, I have to be too perfect. I can't do it. Do you feel like it's just so negative and there's just so much fear? Well, I think you're right. I'm right there with you. And today's guest on Body Bangin' is Mike Townley, a good friend of mine who currently is co-owner of his own shop out in Southern California. And he's going to speak directly to you today. And I think the message is really going to resonate because he sits in the same seat you do, similar seat that you do. He understands the struggles you're going through, and he's really going to bring it home today. It's a great positive message with some great takeaways. I know you guys are going to love it. So stay tuned for more on today's episode of Body Bangin'.
Welcome to Body Bangin', your podcast for all things body. Auto body, that is. And now, introducing Body Bangin's host, Mickey Woods of Mickey Woods Marketing. Mickey is a former Auto Collision Center owner and is now a marketing and business development expert to shops across the globe.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Body Bangin'. This is your host, Mickey Woods, and today I have a guest on my show that I am so proud and honored to introduce to you. We worked together what feels like forever ago, but almost like yesterday. Mike Townley, who is like family to me. He taught me so much about this industry, took me under his wing, a huge mentor of mine, has done amazing things in his career, started out as a paint prepper or paint assistant. I don't remember which. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. And then has managed a ton of different shops. I worked with him at Valley Motor Center, where he was the general manager. And then he went on and worked with Seidner's and Caliber, and now owns his own shop, Telesis Collision Center. You can see he's rocking his stuff if you're watching the video. I love the branding that's happening.
Taught me well, yes.
Yeah, I taught him well. So today, anyway, Mike, hello. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, hello. I'm glad to be here. It's always great to support you and what you're trying to do and what you are doing. So
thank you.
Very nice to be here and try to see if we can answer some questions for people.
Yeah. So we got a lot of response to some of our other podcasts where we had some body shop owners come on and talk about some things that they're doing. And Mike, you've done so many different things, and I'm sure different shops do different things because they're set up in different ways. You know, some are DRP driven, some are dealership driven, some are just customer referral. So, I mean, we've got very different models of shops going on. And one thing that we did at Valley Motor Center that it didn't matter what model you had, everybody was really curious to know how it was when we were open. Who was it that had this grand idea to be open 7 days a week?
Yeah, that was a great thing. So Valley Motor Center, just to kind of give people some history, was in Van Nuys, and we were probably averaging about 850 to 900,000 a month. Sometimes we'd peak over $1 million. 12 techs, had about 10 people in the paint department. So it was a big operation. And so we got to a point, we were very fortunate because we were primarily DRP driven. So we were probably 65, 70% DRP. And we hit capacity. And once we started to hit capacity, then we needed to figure out how we were going to get this thing done to see if there's any more growth that potential that we had. And what we discovered was Saturday and Sundays were great days for people to pick up and great days for people to drop off. Mm-hmm. So we designed, with the help of every tech and every admin person there, we designed a 7-day operation. We basically set up a split shift with our techs. We teamed the techs up 2 by 2. And one tech worked Sunday through Thursday, the other tech worked Tuesday through Saturday. And we were open, and we had a kind of a half admin crew on Saturdays and Sundays. And but the key to it was we were able to keep on producing, so a car never stopped. Yeah, and it kept moving through the system, and so it was a really great learning curve. There was a lot of heavy lifting, but insurance companies loved it. Agents loved it. They could refer customers over that were calling them, and they could just do a warm call over to us on a Saturday and Sunday. And then also we saw the greatest benefit was the larger jobs that came through were able to get sometimes 8 to 9 hours per day on these cars because they just never stopped.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, so it was a big learning curve for sure.
Yeah. I remember when it first came up at the meeting and we were all like, ooh, wow, okay.
You would think that a lot of people wouldn't want to work on a Saturday or Sunday, but if they got a Friday, Saturday off and a Sunday, Monday off,
Yeah.
Having one of the weekdays had started to look like to most of them that they were able to get a lot of things done that normally they would not been able to do on a weekend. So
Right.
it's not as bad as it sounds. And
you're not actually working 7 days.
You're not working.
Let's clear that up.
Yeah. The shop is open 7 days. And then, so I still think there's a lot of merit to it, even though it wasn't continued on when After Service King purchased it. But I think there's a lot of validity and a lot of things that we learn that I'm not suggesting that I'm going to start it up again, but certainly it's definitely somebody should, because there was a lot of value to it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, they say that most of the calls that come in for a body shop come in, or most of the accidents that occur happen in the evening time when people are getting into accidents, and then on the weekend when they're driving around with families and traveling. Yeah. So, you figure by being open on the weekend, you now open it up for people to actually call and can actually speak with somebody. And even if they showed up, there's a warm body there that they can talk to.
Oh yeah, and people just getting estimates or wanting to drop off a car, they were dropping it off at Valley because nobody else was open. So
exactly.
So it was a very good thing. The techs enjoyed it, and it had its ups and downs. But we successfully did it for about 2.5 years, and we improved our cycle time. We improved our sales at the same time. So. It was well worth the effort, and a lot of us learned a lot in regards to a lot of things regarding processes as a result of it. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. What was groundbreaking? I don't know of a single shop out there that has ever gone 7 days.
Yeah, we've seen some people do more of a split shift during the 5 days, a second shift or even a third, but not the 7-day. We felt that it was a great marketing angle to be able to go to our dealers, our insurance companies, to be able to say, hey, we're open Saturday and Sunday. And as well as I do, you got a lot of mileage out of that for us because you were doing the marketing. Yeah. And it would raise people's eyebrows. So it did its job. It was a wow factor for sure.
It was a wow factor. And one thing that we did, which was great too, is we had a big, obnoxious yellow sign on the front of the building that said open 7 days a week. And when you were driving down Oxnard Street, which is a very busy street in Van Nuys, which is Southern California, you saw that sign coming and going. It was like, we could have put it in neon, Yeah, and people appreciated it.
It was all based off of a book called The Collapse of Distinction by Scott McCann. And I got the idea as a result of him saying in the book that what distinguishes you from your competitors? And a lot of times, everybody's doing exactly the same thing. I give 100% a warranty. I do great work and quality. But what really distinguishes you from? And what we did with the 7-day was nobody else could duplicate that immediately. If they tried, it would take them a long time to do. And so that's just an example of when you start to think about how am I distinctive in the light when a consumer is looking at the body of the collision industry? How does Valley Motor Center or Telesis stand out? Why would they come?
That's right.
And the 7-day operation did that for us at Valley. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, when it comes to marketing, and for the whole goal is, what makes you different? And that's part of the reason why we talk about certifications and all of that kind of thing. It's, what have you done that separates yourself from everybody else out there?
That's right.
And that was one tool that when, like you said, I got a ton of leverage. I would go speak at, Sherman Oaks Chamber of Commerce events and, hey, we're open 7 days a week. Everybody was like, what? You can't even go get a haircut on a Sunday, but you can go get your car, you can go get your bumper popped out.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, we got a lot of mileage out of it. We got a lot of good things out of that. And I would say that there's a lot of different ways to do exactly the same way, even the split shift and so on, and getting really creative about some things, and really gives you a lot of mileage in regards to how you kind of do the same thing but differently. And it gives you a better perspective on, or a better value system on why you do some of the things you do. And it kind of pushes up to this surface things that aren't important or are important, and it kind of redefines things and what you should be paying attention to and spending time on.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I would encourage anybody that wanted to differentiate themselves to put their toe in the water and start walking in that direction. You'd be surprised, even if you don't end up of what you intended to do, you'll find you had a lot of value getting there, and maybe even some other things that you hadn't thought about in the first place. So it was a great exercise for us, and we included all the techs in deciding how we're going to split the shift, who's going to, and how are we going to pay the people, and they all came up with the idea. So we allowed everybody to have input. So thereby then they bought into it, and they were interested in making sure that it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one great thing about Valley Motor Center is we all loved our jobs and we were all treated well. We all felt like we were part of the team.
Sure.
And nobody wanted to lose that. And so we were invested to try to make it work the best we could. And that's a testament to you and the leadership that you brought. So
I appreciate that. Marsh was all of our guiding light, so to speak. He was a terrific, just a good man. And I think we all benefited from knowing him.
Oh, for sure. So let me ask you a question. With all this experience and all these, not all these different shops, but in several different shops. I mean, you've been corporate MSO to independent manager, general manager, owner. What do you feel like is one key takeaway or something that you found that was like some aha moment that was like, wow, why didn't I ever think about this before? That kind of just revolutionized or maybe just kind of changed your thinking. And I'm sure there's probably more than just one.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to answer that, other than there's a lot of little things that's happened that I can tell you that we kind of talked about this yesterday, but if I was to say one thing that I've learned is that not to panic about things, not to get too stressed out. In our industry, we have a lot of good people giving fear-based information about the body shop industry and how you've got to make sure this happens and that happens. And a lot of it's true. And we all need to be working towards always improving ourselves and always making sure that we're in front of the technology that's coming down the road. But if I was to give any advice over the years that I've been in this business, is just do the very best you know how and get that car fixed correctly, best you know. And if there's more to do on that car in the future and you learn that maybe I should have done things differently, then do it differently. Continue to evolve, continue to do the right thing. So often, I'm looking at repair procedures nowadays. It's impossible to adhere to some of these repair procedures. It's just ridiculous. And so I always tell my guys, use the repair procedures, but add some common sense to it as well. And let's get this car repaired correctly and do a good job, a good solid job, and make sure that customer is taken care of. But I used to panic a lot and get stressed out a lot, and it's easy to do in this business, especially based on some of the information that we're getting from some of the higher line mentors in our business. And God bless them, they're doing what they think is right. But if they look at it from our point of view, we're getting inundated by fear-based information, and you walk away going, I don't know how I'm going to succeed. I don't know how I'm going to make it. Well, you can make it.
Yeah.
And you just got to relax and try not to drink through the fire hose, if you will.
Yeah.
And because I feel their pain. I know where they're coming from. And it's like, if you cross every T and dot every I and you do exactly everything that any of your mentors that you've heard or read their books has suggested that you make sure you do, you're still liable. You're still opened up to
Yeah.
litigation. It still can happen.
Right.
And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't give you permission to not do a good job on the car.
Yes.
It just don't stress out over it. Do the best you can. Make sure you're trying your best, and you're working towards, if not now, you're working towards getting where you need to be, and just relax about it, because it's the hardest thing to do, because we're under so much stress nowadays to try to satisfy the customer, satisfy the insurance company, satisfy the manufacturer, satisfy, the litigation people that are around. So bottom line is just to relax and try to have fun, because I love what I do. I sincerely love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Well, I agree with you. And that's the difficult part, is it's really easy to backseat drive anything, to be like, you should do this. You should do that. You should have done this. You should have done that. And then it's also easy to second guess your own self to death.
Yeah.
But then I can totally relate to what you're saying. And I see it in a lot of shop owners across the country that are just, they're frustrated because they feel like it's an uphill battle on ice. Like no matter what they do, they can't catch enough momentum because there's so many things coming at them. And
that is so true. And I've been there. And I think that some of the people that are honestly, sincerely trying to do the right thing by communicating us and telling us need to sit back in our chairs.
Yeah, right.
And feel and kind of get back to the basics. And because sometimes what they're suggesting or what they're demanding that we make sure we do, it's very difficult to do. Sometimes it's you're listening to somebody who comes from a non-DRP background, you're a DRP shop, and you're trying to assimilate what he's trying to tell you or they're trying to tell you into that's a non-DRP mentality into your mentality. And there's no win on that. And you have to make a business decision if you decide to go DRP. I do. I believe DRP. Marsh used to say DRP, insurance, the customer calls the insurance company, tells them to come see you, and they send you a check.
Yeah.
So figure out how to make money at it, right?
Yes.
So that's my job. And so if we decide DRP, then we have different ways of doing things because we've agreed to do things differently with the insurance partners that we have. We have a responsibility to them. Now, if you're non-DRP, you have a lot more latitude. So I guess my suggestion would be is make sure that you're lining up with the information that you're getting with your business model, to make sure that you're not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Sometimes some of the estimating seminars is impossible to beat your DRP over the head when they supply 25% of your business. It's just not going to happen. But it does help you keep sharp, but trying to apply some of those things, it's not going to work. So I would say that a little less frustration if you line up with people who are like-minded or like business that your business is, and you're going to get a lot better answers, better processes, and get answers to your question a little bit more in the reality of what you live in every day. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even when I owned my business and I was fresh into the auto body industry and I was DRP driven, plus I had dealerships, and then going over to Valley Motor Center, that was basically felt like all DRP. And that was, one of my main jobs was working with the insurance agents and whatnot. Then you start going to like CVG, Coyote Vision Group meetings and other things and talking to other shops. And you talk to shops that are totally anti-DRP and you're like, whoa. And then the way that they're doing business, you realize that just won't work for me. I just can't do that. But not that one is good or one is bad, but I feel like there's the shame almost associated with it at this point, that if you're a DRP shop, like shame on you. And it's like, listen,
a lot of it is sometimes the non-DRP shops blame the DRP shop for giving in and so on. And there's some truth to that. And if you're looking at the industry as a whole, but in the meantime, it's none of their business. It's my business.
Right.
And if I choose to do it that way, I still have the responsibility to fix the car correctly, just as well as they do. They may need more because they're going to strong arm and do some aggressive ways of making sure the insurance company does. And I get that. And quite frankly, we have non-DRPs here too. But But in the meantime, we're a business. We have people that I'm fiscally responsible for, and the DRPs is a good revenue stream. And we're making good decisions based on our customers. And if in fact it's not a good decision, the insurance companies will talk, and we can make sure that we're doing the right thing by the car and by the customer. And we continue just to make good quality decisions within that world. But that's a business decision that any of us have made.
That's right.
Are we going to be DRP driven or not? Do you accept it or not? Just because you don't accept it doesn't mean that people who do it are wrong. We can all live together in harmony and enough work to go around. And there really is. So bottom line is that try to relax and try to make sure that the information that you're looking towards to help improve yourself and your business is like-minded for you, and not a non-DRP mentality trying to fit that in, because bottom line that you've signed a contract with these insurance companies and you need to abide by it. Yeah.
Well, and I think there's a way to be a good partner and still provide a great quality repair and put the customer in a safe vehicle.
That's correct.
That's exactly right. Sometimes you have to be creative with it.
That's correct. And the volume that you get as a result of being a partner with the DRP offsets some of the costs that you may be giving away in some respects.
Right.
I can't beat my chest and say that I see these videos of people totally disassembling a car from inside and out because that's what the repair procedures say. They don't repair cars; they just charge the insurance company for total losses, and so that's the extreme other side. Good for them. That's their business model. I don't necessarily judge. It's just not mine. And for me to watch a video like that, to try to assimilate that, to say that that's what we should be doing is wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of times we do that because it's under the umbrella of body shop.
Right.
And it's not the same. So it is, but it's not. I remember my first manager's position back in '87 was at Toyota Simi Valley, and the owner said, "I don't know why we can't charge, $85 an hour for body work. Just because we're fixing cars, some people," and he was a dealer principal, he didn't understand the business. The body shop business is not just because you're fixing cars, it's not well known about how things happen. So insurance companies own this thing. It's their ball, their bat, their glove, their stadium, and your choice whether you want to play or not. And if you choose to play, just play. Right. Don't worry about things. Don't worry about beating the drum in regards to trying to pave the way for all the body shops in the United States and that you're doing a disservice. It's just not true. You're a business owner first and a body shop second. And you got to make sure that your cars are being fixed correctly, but you have a responsibility to run a good business. And if that's your choice, then more power to you. Go for it.
Yeah. And, for those of you guys that don't know Mike, I know there's some people that can't wait for this podcast to come out because we all worked with Mike and everybody's excited to see him again.
All right.
But for those that don't know Mike, as you hear him talking, you can tell processes, procedures, operations, that's his thing. And he's so very good at it. And we would have meetings at Valley Motor Center with the management team, and we went over numbers that would blow your mind that I don't know that many shops are doing. They don't know how to do it. No. I would love to have Mike back on another time, and we can discuss some of those numbers and what to look at and how to get there. But
the church of numbers. Yeah. So eventually the numbers need to speak to you, and then you'll find a set of numbers that you can just kind of touch once in a while to help you make better decisions about your business. And you don't need a whole bunch of them, but perspective is what it gives you. And
that's right.
I'm a full believer. And if anybody wants to know, there's only one way to calculate paint material gross profit. And most of us aren't doing it correctly, but I'd be happy to let you know how to do that someday. But anyway, there's a lot of things to do in that respect. I developed a program that some of you may be using that is it's called the CRAB program, but it's a production module that exports the information out of CCC. So it's in a lot of stores right now. So It's not a big deal, but it helps consolidate some of the reporting that some of you are trying to use CCC to print paperwork for your techs and the order by which they're supposed to be done by and so on. We've just kind of consolidated that. And so I'm always open to making it more simple, making it delivering information to people in my shop to help them make better decisions and not always having to be the decision maker, but to let them make their own decisions based on some good consolidated information, based on the order of the cars that when they need to get out, yada, yada, yada. So process is key. And let's face it, I learned it all at Valley because at the beginning, Valley ran me until I got a hold of it. And then we started running Valley. So through that, the shop I'm at right now is a third of what that shop was. So it's a little easier and less stressful. And I'm 4 minutes away from work, from home than I used to be an hour.
Yeah.
So, but it's a great business. I hope people are happy in this business because I don't see some people happy, and it's a lot of fun. It's great to interact with the people. I deliver personally every car here, and it's great to see customers light up and see the results of your labor and to see people really truly appreciate the work that you do. And that's the heart and soul of what we do, not the fact that whether or not you're adhering to the repair procedure out of Volkswagen or whatever. It's providing that customer service and that quality repair, and then the dynamic of why we do this. So don't forget why we're doing this stuff. It's a lot of fun and it's a great business, and be happy to help anybody that needs any help or advice, because that's what it's all about, is helping each other. And I've got people that's worked for me that were porters and now are managers. And I can't be any more proud. I have owners that want people that used to work for me at Valley because they knew that they were disciplined and they had a great work ethic. And I can't be more complimented in that than to know that our team was able to provide that type of atmosphere and culture at Valley and at Telesis. So it's a really good thing. It's a good thing to be part of this business. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that you were great at that not many owners have a knack for, or managers, is when you would hire people, it was interesting because I worked really closely with Mike. He was basically my direct manager. And so I would hope that we learned a lot from each other, because I know I learned a lot from you. And it was really interesting to see you interview people or talk with people and potentially even move people within the organization. Right. Mike had a great way, and Marsh was really big on identifying people's characteristic types and emotional type personality. And so Mike was great about finding an employee and then finding out exactly where that employee would work well. So even if they came in wanting to be, let's say, an estimator, then it was like, actually, you would be great as a, whatever.
Yeah. So I wish I could say I created that mindset, but that's from Collins' book, Good to Great.
Yeah.
And that's making sure you have the right person on the bus in the right seat.
Right.
And so when I had an estimator that kept on, he did okay estimating, but he kept on having some customer service issues. He was bilingual. His better spot to succeed was in production, and communicating with the techs, and going through the motions of moving cars and making sure things got done, and thereby then helping him succeed. It's the main goal. Do we have the right person doing the right thing? And sometimes you don't, but you continue on because it's all you got. Sometimes, but sometimes they got to face facts that, quite frankly, maybe this guy is not meant to do this, or and I had the liberty to do that at Valley because we had so many employees, so we can move around without drastic issues. But yes, manager's responsibility is to make sure that the right person is doing the right job. And you need to hire, you don't want an analytical, let's say, personality giving customer updates.
Yeah.
You want a Mickey doing customer updates, an expressive personality, somebody that loves people, that loves to talk, that is expressive in their facial expressions and so on. That's the people that you want in the front counter. Teach them the rest. Making sure the mileage is in and making sure the license plate's in and all that. You can teach them all that. but you don't want the person who is a number cruncher dealing necessarily with the people. You want them in the back, possibly writing estimates or possibly doing your bookkeeping or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So having the right person in the right seat on the bus is very, very important. A great lesson I learned from that book.
Yeah. Well, and Marsh even had something that he emailed out to the management team that classified and that was like such an aha moment for me. It's like, oh, I think it was like 4 different main personalities. Wasn't that it?
So there's a driver, analytical, expressive, and amiable. So
And what was the last one?
Amiable.
Amiable. Okay.
Amiable are, so there's 4 personality types. So expressive is the best way to explain it. Let's say animals in the jungle, right?
Okay.
So an expressive would be the monkey.
Right.
Always having fun, always moving, always I mean, you could be picking up dog shit in the back. As long as you're having fun, the expressive's going to have a blast. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
The analytical's more of the giraffe, more of aloof, more looking down their nose, so to speak, analyzing everybody, less movement. You've got the amiable personality, was more like the turtle that always slow, but not threatening. And everybody loves the turtle, right? Everybody loves talking. They don't like a lot of eye contact, whatever the case. And then the driver personality is the lion. Everybody scatters when the lion comes into the jungle. And so everybody has a combination of all 4. And one is usually predominant, I should say. So if you teach your people up front that this is the case, you don't want to talk about the accident and how it happened to the guy with the red power tie on in the BMW that left his door open when he opened up and came into the office. You want to get him in and out quickly. He's a bottom line driver. But that little old lady from Pasadena, you want to have a great conversation. How did it work? And identifying personalities is key. So yes, we practice that very heavily. I still do to this day.
Yeah.
It's a great way to be able to make sure the right person is doing the right job, and you're identifying the right person that you're talking to too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's fun. Once we kind of went over those things.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Then I'm walking around like, ooh, what are they?
You can tell a driver personality they'll say, well, this is the bottom line. The bottom line is, we've got a driver here.
Yeah.
So, and then an analytical will say, well, first of all, and then second of all, and then third. So, and expressive, just as long as I'm having fun, man, let's go.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun, and love dealing with people. And I hope everybody does love dealing with people, because it can be a real Achilles heel too, dealing with people. Yeah. And if you have a good perspective on making sure that you are trying to meet them at where they're at, then you stop finding yourself under the minutia that can happen dealing with the customers, I guess, a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Most people are good and want their cars fixed correctly and have great attitudes, and some just don't. Let's face it. So don't get too hung up on the ones that don't, and keep moving on and doing a good job. And when you hear people say you're doing a good job, believe them. Yeah, because you are. Yeah, you are. You're doing a great job, and we don't hear too much of that type of message anymore in this industry. And I would love to tell everybody, keep doing what you're doing. Do a great job, because it's a lot of fun. Keep learning, stay in the front of the learning curve, but relax and just have fun. It's the best advice I can give anybody. And make sure you're not working too many hours. Family's important. I have to always push back on my employees. They want to put some time in. I always make sure they go home, and we'll figure it out tomorrow. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Because otherwise they burn themselves out, and then what good are they? And they don't know they've burned themselves out. You have to help them from themselves sometimes. It kind of reminds me of going to, like CCC conferences and Verifax conferences and all that kind of stuff. And we get in there and we get in the rooms and we're grinding it out and we're taking notes, and it's so serious. And, then you go to the party afterwards and you're having cocktails and people are smoking cigars. And then you're like learning, oh, what are you doing at your job? What are you doing? Oh, and you're laughing and you're having fun. Right. That's when you realize, like, I really love what I do, but sometimes I just get so stuck in the muck of all of it. Yeah. And it's so great. I'm glad you brought that up. So I would suggest anybody listening needs to get involved with a 20 group, some type of group like that. And I'll tell you why. because it gives you perspective that you never will get sitting behind your desk at work.
Yeah.
Out of the office and so on. But more importantly, those sidebar conversations you have at dinner, having a drink or whatever, wherever you may be, there's the value. Because you see people that are like-minded like you, and they're basically encouraging you and giving you advice on things. If you have an innocent question about things, that's where the value is. You may not understand what gross profit means or how it's calculated, and those 20 groups will help you get there. But it's if you didn't even understand all the numbers, go there for the people and the other business owners across the country that are probably having the same thoughts that you are and having struggles with all this information we're getting that we're not measuring up, and we're afraid we're going to get sued. And talk it through with them. You're going to find that there's a lot of people just like you that need to talk to somebody just like you. I just really can't suggest it enough, because that's the value of those 20 groups. Be it a paint company 20 group. I belong to Coyote Vision Group, which is monitored by Square One Systems. David Lohr has a group. There's a lot of industry leaders that have 20 groups. I would suggest that just get involved with one, and then make sure you're introducing yourself to the people there after the meetings and during the dinners and so on, and getting your questions answered that you were always afraid in CCC's meetings or in Verifax meetings to stand up in front of all your peers and ask. Because you get those questions asked without any repercussions of judgment in those 20 groups, and it's been immensely helpful for me. I've learned so much being part of Coyote Vision Group. I can't even tell you. So it's been I would suggest that people would spend some money on a 20 group. That's the value.
Well, yeah. And oftentimes, even if you don't have a question, the questions that other people are asking, you're like, oh, I mean, mind blown.
Yeah. Great point. Because I would sit there and I would have a snapshot of how I'm doing in my business. Right. And I would sit there going, damn, I'm not doing as well as I thought I would. And then I would go, damn, I'm doing way better in this area than So it kind of recalibrates you, so to speak, on your perspective. And then what happens is that when you get back to work, whether you apply anything directly that you learned from a 20 group or not, whether you come back and you decide to go lean or whatever the case may be, which I don't suggest, but what you do is make better decisions from that point on because of the 20 group, because your perspective has changed. And so without even knowing it, you'll make better decisions regarding what you want to do because you had a calibration at the 20 group, and now you're a different person as far as your viewpoint on your business.
Right.
And so it automatically kind of happens, and you'll start making better decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
Only you can do that. You can only bring back their perspective and make the decisions for you and what's best for you and your people. Nobody really can, because they don't sit in your chair, right? So getting out of the office, getting involved in a 20 group, being a sponge, asking dumb questions, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I've gone to some of the 20 groups, and I was amazed. I didn't really realize when you guys were going to Coyote Vision Group what that was. I don't know. They go off to these things and they come back with these harebrained ideas, and
you call it something, but
we had a nickname for it.
You had a name for it, but yeah, because Marsh was a literal man, and he would want to implement 10 things at once. Like, Marsh, please. And you have to be careful with that, because you can disrupt your culture of your company if you went with a sharp knife.
Right.
But by all means, I used to, and here's another great thing. When you go to these meetings, whether it be a 20 group or not, you take notes based on what you hear literally from these speakers. But what's even better is take notes of what it makes you think of. If it's not literally what you're listening to, you'll have thoughts pop in your mind about 7-day operation or something it's an epiphany or a moment, and you make sure you write it down, because those are the things that come to mind that are for you and for your business. And nobody else could have come up with that but you, because you're bouncing that information you're getting from that speaker off of your brain, and it's causing you to think of things like, oh, It
Yeah.
could be even just get milk on the way home. But
Yeah.
write this stuff down because you're going to find that there's a lot of value, and it has nothing to do with what the speaker was talking about. It's crazy how it works.
Yeah.
So putting yourself in a position to just take notes and make sure you're being sensitive to what you're thinking of, I think has a lot of value. So there's a lot of indirect value from a 20 group. I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Yeah. It helps us to I think in any job, we just get so tunnel vision because we're just used to doing what we do all the time. And then the creativity process that we really need to be better and in all levels just gets completely squashed because the blinders are up.
Yeah.
And going to these groups really helps you kind of put them down and go, oh, this is what everybody's doing.
Yeah, and it shows you the enormity of our business. There's a lot of very cool people in our business.
Yes.
A lot of cool, smart guys, women. I mean, it's just amazing. And if you're just looking out from your hedge at where you're at, you don't get that experience of, and it's amazing some of the things that people are doing. And quite frankly, you go back east, some people are able to do things you can't here in California. Mm-hmm. They have cheap real estate. We don't. So we're probably more efficient here in California because we have to be. And, they've got, 30,000 square foot facilities doing, and we're going, man, how do they get away with this? Because they don't have to pay for it like we do, right? So it gives you perspective and appreciation of what you have here and wherever you may be. And them coming over here going, wow, how would you like to be able to try and squeeze all that volume out of that small facility?
Yeah.
Right? So it has value. So I can't, like I said, I can't recommend it enough. That's a good stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I don't want to talk your ear off too much. I feel like we gave some great information to people watching and listening. And I'm sure, Mike, would you be open to it if they had questions on any of this to reach out to you?
Yeah, sure. It's all about process, know your numbers, and relax and have fun. I mean, let's face it. It is a job, but it's a fun job, and there's a lot of good things in this business. And I just want to be the one saying that because we're not hearing that often enough.
I agree.
It's a good thing. So congratulations if you're listening to this on your careers, and keep on keeping on. And I'll be open to listening or any kind of questions or anything. I'm always here to help anybody that's in the industry for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So all Mike's contact information is going to be in the description below. And I just want to thank you again for participating with me.
I
kind of twisted his arm, but that's all right.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate the forum to be able to get some information out, and I hope everybody's doing well. And I think COVID's over, at least for it's starting to show. And I hope everyone has a great 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen. Well, thanks everybody for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure when you subscribe, you hit the bell to get the notifications. You can also follow on the podcast platforms so that you get notified every time a new one goes live, which is every Monday. And we also have a fun Facebook group if you want to come join us there, where we talk about all kinds of fun things. And I'm also on LinkedIn. You can catch me there too. So find me wherever you can, wherever you want to. Thank you again, Mike. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Until next time, see you later from Body Bangin'.
If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have some incredible topics and guests coming your way you will not want to miss. If you are watching on YouTube and don't want to miss the latest and greatest, you'll want to hit the bell after subscribing, so you will get a pop-up each time a video podcast goes live. To our devoted fans, would you mind paying it forward and sharing this little gem with someone else you think may benefit from it? Much love from all of us here at Body Bangin', all things auto body.